The Skies of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. Copyright 2001 by Anne McCaffrey. Read by Dick Hill. Performance copyright 2001 by Brilliance Audio. All rights reserved.
This book is respectfully dedicated to Stephen M. Beard, Ph.D., for putting my world in my hands. The Skies of Pern. Ours not to ponder what were fair in life, but, finding what may be, make it fair up to our means. Anne McCaffrey. Introduction. When mankind first discovered Pern, third planet of the sun Rukbat in the Sagittarian sector, they paid little attention to the eccentric orbit of another satellite in the system. Settling the new planet, adjusting to its differences, the colonists spread out across the southern, most hospitable continent. Then disaster struck in the form of a rain of mycorrhizoid organisms, which voraciously devoured all but stone, metal, and water. The initial losses were staggering, but fortunately for the young colony, Thread, as the settlers called the devastating showers, was not entirely invincible. Both water and fire would destroy the menace on contact. Using their old-world ingenuity and genetic engineering, the settlers altered an indigenous life form that resembled the dragons of legend. Bonded with a human at birth, these enormous creatures became Pern's most effective weapon against Thread. Able to chew and digest a phosphine-bearing rock, the dragons could literally breathe fire and sear the airborne Thread before it could reach the ground. Able not only to fly, but to teleport as well, the dragons could maneuver quickly to avoid injury during their battles with Thread. And their telepathic communication enabled them to work with their riders and with each other to form extremely efficient fighting units known as wings. Being a dragon rider required special talents and complete dedication. Thus, the dragon riders became a separate group, set apart from those who held land against the depredations of Thread or those whose craft skills produced other necessities of life in their craft halls. Over the centuries, the settlers forgot their origins in their struggle to survive against Thread, which fell across the land whenever the red star's eccentric orbit coincided with Pern's. There were long intervals, too, when no Thread ravaged the land, when the dragon riders in their weirs kept faith with their mighty friends against the time when they would be needed once more to protect the people they were pledged to serve. After one such long interval, when Thread renewed its violence, the dragon riders were down to one single weir, Bendon. Its courageous leaders, Flar, rider of bronze Narrator, and Lessa, rider of the only gold queen, Ramoth, brought forward in time the other 5 weirs and all their inhabitants to renew the defense of Pern. Circumstances encouraged exploration of the southern continent, and there Lord Jackson, rider of White Ruth, his friend Flessan, rider of bronze Golanth, journeywoman Jancis from the Master Smithcraft Hall, and Pimer, harper at large, discover the most important artifact in the settlers' original landing. Avis, Artificial Intelligence Voice Address System. With myriad files of information which the colonists had brought with them, Avis is able to restore lost pieces of information for all the craft halls. He is also able to tell them and instruct them how to rid their world of the cyclical dangers of the erratic satellite inaccurately called the Red Star. Flar and Lessa, Bendon's courageous and far-seeing weir leaders, are the first to encourage lord holders and craftmasters to end the domination and start a new era on Pern. Almost all lord holders and craftmasters agree, especially since Avis can provide them with new methods and technologies to improve life and health. Those who consider Avis an abomination attempt to stop the splendid project, but are defeated. Instructed and trained by Avis, the young riders and technicians are able to transport, by means of the dragons, the antimatter engines of the 3 colony ships, still in orbit above landing, and place them in a massive fault on the red planet. The subsequent explosion is visible from much of the planet, and people rejoiced to think they would finally be rid of Thread. However, Thread continues to fall, because the swarm brought in by the red planet has not yet completely passed by Pern. Dragon riders and harpers explain to those who will listen that the erratic orbit of the red planet takes it through the Oort cloud that surrounds the Rukbat system, on its way into the system and again.